Hi students. The current discussion is cells of areolar tissue we were discussing. In the previous session we had discussed the cells called as fibroblasts and the macrophages. And today we will be discussing the rest of the three mast cells, adipose sites and plasma cells. Clear? One by one in detail. So the present discussion is with respect to mast cells, adipose sites and followed by plasma cells. Mast cells. Important topic from NEET point of view. Mast cells. The mast cells are amoeboid in shape. They are amoeboid cells. What is by amoeboid? Amoeboid means there is no regular shape. There is no shape for this one. Just like amoeba, they are shapeless. That's why called as the amoeboid cells. The nucleus is S-shaped. The S-shaped nucleus is present here. They consist of S-shaped nucleus. And this nucleus contains the three lobes are there. How many lobes are there? Three lobes. Trilobed nucleus is there, divided into three lobes. Amoeboid cells, S-shaped nucleus, their nucleus divided into three lobes. Next one. The cytoplasm contains the basic granules. These are the basic granules present in the cytoplasm. Basic granules. The basic granules respond to the basic dyes. They respond to the basic dyes. Just like the basophils. Just like the basophils. Among WBC, neutrophils, acidophils and basophils are there, among which the basophils also respond to the basic dyes. In the same way, the mast cells, because they contain some basic granules, they also respond to the basic dyes. So what's the bottom line here? The mast cells are very much like basophils. The mast cells are very much like basophils. Clear? With respect to the not only structure but also the function. Many functional similarities are there between the mast cells and the basophils. Clear? So cytoplasmic granules are there. They are nothing but basic granules. Third point, basic. They contain the basic granules. And where are these mast cells present? At the border between environment and the tissue. Environment, outside environment and the tissue at the border. For example, this is the outside environment. This is the outside environment. And here is a tissue present. At this surface, this is a tissue, for example, this is a representation of tissue and this is a representation of environment. Here is the mast cell present always. That is, mast cell is present between the border between the environment and the tissue. So obviously, what are these sites? The skin is a site where the maximum location of mast cells are there. Skin. Next one is lungs. Other is a gastrointestinal tract, that is alimentary canal. Of course, mast cells are present throughout the human body, but more are present in the skin, lungs and gastrointestinal tract. Why? Because there is a maximum chances that the skin is getting the infections and allergies. That is why maximum mast cells are present in the skin and the lungs. Why lungs? Because we take the oxygen. Oxygen, the air which we take inside, may be containing the dust particles. That is why the lung surfaces also have got maximum presence of mast cells. The same way gastrointestinal tract, that is alimentary canal. When we take the food or water, it may be containing those antigens, microbial agents, dust particles. That's why the gastrointestinal tract, alimentary canal also contains a maximum presence of mast cells. That is the location. Next one is, what is a mechanism of action of mast cells? What is a mechanism of action? Let's discuss now. How they function, what is a mechanism of operation of mast cells? This is a mast cell, amoeboid in shape. A mast cell is there, this one is a mast cell. Cytoplasm, a nucleus is there, S-shaped nucleus. This is a nucleus, of course. Okay, students. And here is the surface of the mast cell and contains a receptor. The surface of the mast cell contains a receptor. Cell surface receptor, that is called as cell surface receptor. The cell surface receptor is present in the surface of the mast cell. The cell surface receptor contains the antibody. What is this? Contains the antibody here, like this. This is the antibody. What is this antibody type here? IgE antibody. Because these antibodies are nothing but immunoglobulins. There are 5 different types of immunoglobulins are there. Just easy way to remember is DAGM. IgD antibody, IgE, IgG, IgA, IgM. 5 different types of immunoglobulins or antibodies are there. One of the type is a IgE, which is concerned with the hypersensitivity or allergic reactions. Very important point. So IgE antibody is present on the cell surface receptor of this mast cell. Clear, students? Now, whenever the allergen tend to enter, allergen enters. Allergen. What is meant by allergen? Any substance which can cause the allergic reaction, the hypersensitivity reaction in the human being is called as an allergen. I repeat, any substance which causes the allergic reaction, the hypersensitivity reaction in the human being is called as an allergen. So what are the examples of allergen? It can be dust particles, animal dander, pollen, plant pollen, or any other substance which causes the allergy in the human being is called as an allergen. That is a substance. Okay. When the allergen, example, the dust particle enters into the body, it is danger, isn't it? So what happens now? This allergen is nothing but an antigen. Any foreign substance is called as an antigen. Allergen is an antigen. When this antigen enters the human body, suppose this is an allergen or an antigen, it is entering the human body, and this antibody binds with the antigen. This is the antigen now. This is the antigen which is the allergen. This is the antibody. Antibody, also called as IgE antibody here. Whenever the allergen or antigen enters a human body, the antibody binds with the antigen. The antibody binds with the antigen here. At the specific antigen binding site is there for the antibody. At that site location, the antibody gets binded with the antigen. This is called as a cross-linking of antigen. What is this called as a cross-linking of the antigen by the antibody? Cross-linking. Because of this cross-linking, the mast cell responds here. This is the mast cell now. The mast cell responds by secretion of the very important substance called as the histamine. When this histamine released here, whenever the body is having the allergen, that is an antigen, then the antigen binds with the antibody, and this is called as cross-linking. Whenever there is a cross-linking, what happens? Immediately the mast cell responds and releases the very important substance called as the histamine. Now, what is the mode of action of histamine? Let's discuss now. Now, whenever the mast cell releases a histamine, the histamine mode of action, what is the mechanism? Let's discuss now. This is a blood vessel here called as capillary, small blood vessel capillary, and this is a diameter of the capillary, and blood flows in the capillary blood, which contains a WBC also. Histamine, when it is released here, histamine when it is released, it increases the diameter. It increases the diameter here. So actually this original diameter is causes the swelling of this one here. Swollen blood vessel is there. Increase in size. See here. The cavity, the lumen is increased here, expanded. That is called as a dilation. Dilation. What is the dilation? Expansion. Expansion of which one? Blood vessel now. That is why it's called as a vasodilation. What is the vaso? Vaso means the blood vessel. Vaso means blood vessel. There is an expansion of this blood vessel, and that is called as a vasodilation. Why the vasodilation is happening? Because of the release of the histamine by the mast cell. Because of this cross-linking, the mast cell responds by the secretion of the histamine. Immediately the histamine causes the vasodilation. Expansion is there. When there is an expansion, there is a release of which one? Blood. More release of blood. Into this site, because it's a site of infection now. That is why here more blood flow is there. More blood flow is there into this site. This is a site of infection, for example. So here more blood flow is there in this direction. And this is called as a exudate. This is called as a exudate. What is exudate? The process of release of more blood at the site of the injury or infection is called as the exudate. Exudation. So this exudate contains which one? Blood. And blood contains a WBC. The WBC, the phagocytes will do the adequate immune responses here. One of the response is this site is swollen. This is a site of infection, isn't it? So one of the response of this histamine is more flow of blood. Because of the more flow of blood, this site, entire this site gets swollen. For example, this site is drawn here. For example, this is a site. This is site here, a rough diagram here. For example, this is a site of representation of injury. This is the original size. Because of the more blood flow, what happens? This is increasing in size. That is, there is a swelling. There is a swelling. Because of why there is a swelling? Because more blood flow is there into this direction, isn't it? That is why there is a swollen here, swelling, number one. This site becomes redness, and more pain is there at this site. More pain is there at this site. More burning sensation is there at this site. Burning sensation. So this is called as a inflammation. This is called as a inflammation. Inflammation is characterized by swelling, redness, pain, burning sensation. For example, this skin part. If skin part gets does any hypersensitivity reaction, there is a swelling, swollen structure is there, and redness is there, and pain is there, and burning sensation is there. All these are called as the inflammation, medically called as the abscession. Abscession. Inflammation is done by which one? Inflammatory mediator. Inflammatory. What is inflammatory mediator here? Histamine is the inflammatory mediator which is causing this inflammation at the site of this injury here or some other infection. Clear, students? So this called as swelling, redness, pain and burning sensation. Inflammation is done by the inflammatory mediator called as a histamine. Histamine is released by the mast cells. Other inflammatory mediator released by the mast cells is the bradykinin. What is that? Bradykinin is also the inflammatory mediator which also causes the vasodilation. So what are the two inflammatory mediators which causes the vasodilation? One is a histamine, other is a bradykinin which causes the vasodilation. These two are released by the mast cells. Okay, next one is, we'll be discussing the next one. called as vasoconstriction. Next one is a vasoconstriction. What is vasoconstriction? Dilation means expansion. There is a more expansion of the blood vessel, that is called as vasodilation. What is vasoconstriction now? Suppose this is the normal blood vessel. If it is expanded, that is called as vasodilation. Vasodilation. Opposite of this one is this is a normal blood vessel. Instead of this one, it becomes constricted. That is only this much. It is becoming like this. This is becoming like this, vasodilation. If this is becoming like this, that's called as a vasoconstriction. Vasoconstriction. Opposite of vasodilation is the vasoconstriction. Vasodilation is done by the inflammatory mediators called as histamine, bradykinin, whereas vasoconstriction is done by the inflammatory mediator other called as the serotonin. What is that? Serotonin. Serotonin causes the vasoconstriction. Constriction means narrowing of the blood vessel. If it is expansion, vasodilation, narrowing of the blood vessel is called as a vasoconstriction is done by the inflammatory other mediator called as the serotonin. So serotonin is also released by the mast cells, and chemically this is called as a 5-hydroxytryptamine. 5-hydroxytryptamine. 5-hydroxytryptamine is the chemical name of serotonin. Very important point. It is also a neurotransmitter. Serotonin is also a very important neurotransmitter present in the human body. So 5-hydroxytryptamine. Why tryptamine? Because it is derived from the amino acid called as a tryptophan. Tryptophan. 5-hydroxytryptamine is derived from amino acid called as tryptophan. And what is a mode of functioning of this one? Vasoconstriction. Suppose there is an injury of the blood vessel. Suppose this is a blood vessel, normal blood vessel, and it is getting cut because of you are cutting an apple. For example, there is a small injury is there. Blood flow is there. Blood flow. So the blood flow should be stopped. Immediately the mast cells releases the serotonin. The serotonin causes the vasoconstriction. When there is a narrowing down, what happens? The blood flow is restricted, confined, because that is a mode of action of the serotonin here. So whenever there is a injury, the serotonin is released by the mast cells. Okay, students, all of you. So next one is the heparin. The other product released by the mast cells is the heparin. So next one is the heparin. Heparin is released by the mast cells and also by the liver. Very important point. So what are the two structures which releases a heparin? One is a mast cells, other is a heparin. Heparin is also released by the liver. Okay, this is a mucopolysaccharide. Mucopolysaccharide. Heparin is a mucopolysaccharide. It is a polysaccharide. What is a polysaccharide? A complex carbohydrate is called as a polysaccharide. And heparin is mostly present in the mucus. A polysaccharide which is present mostly in the mucus, that is why it is called as a mucopolysaccharide. Mucopolysaccharide. Now this is the intravascular anticoagulant. Intravascular anticoagulant. That is, it stops the blood flow by the blood clotting. Blood clotting, one of the factor of release is heparin. It is an intravascular anticoagulant. That is, for example, you take the blood vessel. If there is a clot, there is no free flow of blood to the heart, isn't it? That's why the clotting should be stopped. The clotting should be stopped in the blood vessel. When there is an injury, clotting should be there, coagulation should be there. But when here this is a blood vessel, the free flow of blood should be there. There shouldn't be any jamming here. There shouldn't be any kachra, isn't it? That's why the free flow of blood should be there. And which one is doing this one? That is an anticoagulant released here. That's called as a heparin. Heparin stops here any clots or coagulants. That's why it's called as a anticoagulant. Intravascular anticoagulant. What is meant by intravascular anticoagulant? Intravascular means inside the blood vessel. It stops the coagulation or clotting. That's why it's called as the intravascular anticoagulant. So heparin is also released by the liver along with the mast cells. It is a mucopolysaccharide. It is an intravascular anticoagulant. This is about the heparin. Clear, students? So this is about the mast cells. And the next type of cells are the adipose sites. We'll be discussing the adipose sites now. So next type of cells are the adipose sites. Site means a cell. What is a site? Cell. The cell which is specialized for fat storage. The cell specialized for fat storage and present in the areolar tissue is called as the adipose site. Adipose sites are having the oval shaped. They are oval shaped structures, oval shaped. Whereas mast cells are amoeboid, isn't it? Whereas the shape of these adipocytes is oval. Next point, they consist of small oil droplets or lipid droplets. Oil droplets or lipid or fat droplets are there, and this forms a locule. This forms a locule or a lobule, fat lobule. Fat lobule is formed by a combination of many oil droplets. It forms a lobule. Basing on the lobules, the adipose sites are of two different types. One is called as the monolocular. Other is the multilocular. Mono means single, and multi means many. Mono means single, multi means many. So as the name indicates, it contains a single larger lobule. Single larger lobule is there, only single one. Its stretch is present. Whereas in the multilocular, many smaller locules are there. Many smaller lobules. For example, this is the one which is divided into parts like this here. But here a single larger one is there, whereas here many smaller ones are there. Many smaller lobules are there. That is why monolocular, multilocular. This monolocular is present in the white fat. Whereas multilocular is present in the brown fat. Okay, students. Why the brown color is there for this one? Because of the presence of the cytochrome. The brown color is important to this fat. Whereas cytochrome is absent here, that is why it is white in color. Whereas here white brown in color because of the pigment called as a cytochrome. Important point. Clear, students? That's about the adipose sites. The special cells for the storage of fat present in the areolar connective tissue. Oval shaped cells and many droplets are there, basing on this one, monolocular and multilocular. The next type of cell, the last type of areolar cells. Let's discuss now. They are now called as the plasma cells. So fifth type of cells are called as the plasma cells. Plasma cells are released by the B lymphocytes. B lymphocytes. What are B lymphocytes? WBC granulocytes and agranulocytes. Agranulocytes are of two types, monocytes and lymphocytes. The lymphocytes are of two types, B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. B lymphocytes releases the plasma cells. They secretes the plasma cells. The B lymphocytes or B cells, they releases the secretes the plasma cells, and plasma cells are a type of cells present in the areolar connective tissue. The plasma cells releases the antibodies. The following students. That is the first point to be noted. The first point. The second point is the plasma cells are also amoeboid in shape. They are also amoeboid in shape. Just like the mast cells or macrophages, these are also amoeboid in shape. So a question may come, which of the following cells are amoeboid in shape? Number 1, macrophages. Number 2, plasma cells. Number 3, mast cells. Number 4, all the above. What's the answer now? All the above is answer. All these are the amoeboid cells only. Clear? So these are the amoeboid shaped cells. This is a, for example, plasma cell. It contains the nucleus. This is the plasma cell and contains a nucleus. Nucleus contains a chromatin. Network is there, and this is present as a cartwheel. This is a chromatin material. Chromatin material which is arranged just like the spokes of the wheel, cartwheel. That is why this is called as a cartwheel nucleus. Cartwheel nucleus. Because as the cart is there with the spokes, here also with the help of this chromatin material which are arranged just like the spokes, it appears as if it is a cart. That is why it's called as a cartwheel nucleus, and the cell is called as a cartwheel cell. Cartwheel cell. This is a unique character of plasma cells of the areolar connective tissue. Now students, can you type in the comment box if parasite is there, certain parasite where the cartwheel nucleus is present? Can you type in the comment box below? All of you. That much for today, and we'll be coming up with the next amazing session. Bye students, all of you. Take care, all of you.